The origin of logic is one of the most persuasive lines of evidence for the existence of God. The next 6 minutes will show you why. It's the final seconds of the basketball championship game. The home team's point guard dribbles the ball up the floor with a chance to take the winning shot. Out of nowhere, an opposing player slams him to the ground, takes the ball and kicks it into the 30th row. The point guard looks to the referee, awaiting a whistle, a foul, and perhaps even an ejection for the offending player. The referee simply shrugs as the time runs out. Game over. Why not ignore the rule limiting the team to 5 players and flood the court with 27 of them? Why not bring a slingshot onto the court to thwart the opponent's offensive efforts? Why not produce a ladder and climb up to sit on the hoop to prevent any shots from going in? Why not release a brood of chickens onto the floor to slow the opposing team? The examples can only get more and more absurd. Without enforceable rules, chaos would reign. Nothing could get done. The game would become unplayable and would eventually cease to exist. Basketball itself would quickly become impossible in the absence of rules. Thankfully, none of these chaotic things happen because basketball does have rules. In fact, we have documentation of the original rules created in 1892 by a man named James Naismith. Though his original 13 rules have been altered and expanded over time, without them the game would never have come into being. But just as basketball or any other game needs a list of rules to govern its operation, so does the universe. We have observable laws of science and mathematics, without which life and matter could never have come into being. For example, without the gravity which dictates the movement and placement of the planets, Earth would be uninhabitable. Similarly, 2 plus 2 must always equal 4. If it can amount to 4 and 13.5 and negative 22 all at the same time, chaos reigns. We count on these rules being reliable and applicable every single day. We also have logic, which governs how all things are to be understood. We do not ask, how many is the colour purple? Or other nonsense questions, because life is logically consistent. In fact, in fiction like movies, books, or even our dreams, it stands out immediately when some idea is not logically consistent. We all know life can only work under logically consistent circumstances. Does it have to be this way? Are these rules and laws just arbitrary concepts? Try living a day ignoring all rules of logic. Try defying scientific law. You will see rather quickly that the universe's internal order is incredibly fixed and not up for debate. There's nothing arbitrary about it. The entire scientific method would be unusable if we did not have a universe governed by reliable laws and processes. It assumes such factors even though it cannot explain their origin. All of this raises an important question. Where did these scientific laws and logical rules come from? Evolution may claim to have an explanation for how nothing became matter and how non-living matter sprung to life one day. But can it explain how non-physical entities like scientific laws and the rules of logic came into being? To lean on the basketball analogy, one might be able to explain where the ball and the hoop came from, but that is a totally different discussion from explaining where rules like travelling and technical fouls came from. Evolution does not claim to explain the origin of the non-physical. It merely assumes the non-physical was picked up and understood somewhere along the evolutionary timeline. This creates a chicken or the egg conundrum. Which came first, the material universe or the laws that govern it? If the material universe came into being first, then that means there was a time when the matter existed outside of the bounds of scientific law. Anything could have happened. And if that's the case, how, when, and why were the laws later added? Or, if the laws came first, how did that happen in a time when nothing existed? Relatedly, when did they come into application? The Big Bang itself violates the first law of thermodynamics. So, was it at the very moment of the explosion that the universe began to observe the laws which now hold all things together? How did this non-sentient matter develop such laws out of a state in which they did not exist? Why, when according to the theory and there was supposedly nothing, would such laws be developed? None of this lines up. Neither the chicken answer nor the egg answer is satisfactory. Because we can rely on logic, we know it is illogical to say a physical universe created its own rules. It can no more do so than a basketball can create the dimensions of the court. Concepts like gravity and mathematics are not consequences of the universe coming into existence. They are the rules that define the universe itself. With no satisfactory answer from the naturalistic, evolutionary worldview, we are still left asking, where did these laws come from? Like the rulebook for a game, the rulebook for the universe had to have been written by an intelligent being. The biblical worldview rests on the premise that all things come from God, including the laws of the universe we see. Since he pre-exists the universe, he could decide the laws which govern it before or during the time he brought it all into existence. Our Creator is one who brings order out of chaos and gave us a universe we can understand through observation and study. It is He who made up always be up and down always be down, made 2 + 2 always equal to 4, and made syllogisms provable. The next time you see a basketball game, notice the out-of-bounds lines, the dimensions of the hoop, and all of the other features that define what the game is. Notice the referee and how he governs the game according to a set of rules. Remember that the game operates under these parameters by design. And if the rules of a basketball game require design, so do the rules of the universe. If you want to learn more about the lines of evidence that prove the biblical worldview, please visit linesofevidence.com.